Hi there, I'm John. Welcome to my channel where I share my opinion. I've been playing Monster Hunter for over a decade, and it's been a long, messy, unforgettable journey. And with the release of Monster Hunter Wilds, I figured it's finally time to talk about how this series has grown, how I have grown with it, and what I really think about where it's heading. So, let me take you back to where it all started. My first encounter with the Monster Hunter series was a disaster. It all started with Monster Hunter Portable 2, or as it's known in the West, Monster Hunter Freedom 2. And let me tell you, it was rough. Back in primary school, some of my classmates were hyped about it. They were all fighting massive monsters using their clearly modded save files. And despite how terribly they actually played, something about it made me curious. So I gave it a shot. Big mistake. From the moment I booted up, I was overwhelmed. Walls of text everywhere, way too much for an 11-year-old kid to read, let alone understand. And of course, buried in all that text was all the instructions. The first mission? A simple gathering quest, just pick some mountain herbs. Sounds easy, right? Except, I had no idea how to collect anything or where to even start looking. The game dropped me into a snowy mountain and it said, "Good luck, no direction, no tutorial." I wandered around aimlessly for around 50 minutes until the time ran out, and then I deleted the game. Then came Monster Hunter Portable 2G, also known in the West as Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. And honestly, I still don't get why they changed the name for a different region, and why dropped the 2. Just to confuse people? Anyway, after my not-so-great experience with the previous game, I was pretty skeptical, but curiosity won, and gave it another shot. It felt like the exact same game, at least in the village low rank. I was still confused, still overwhelmed, but this time, I figured out how to collect those mountain herbs. I actually started making progress. After some more struggling, I finally learned what Popo's tongue was. Yeah, it's a real item. Took me way too long to figure out. Eventually, I made it to the first urgent quest, the Geodrome. This fight was rough. Honestly, I'm not even sure if I'm saying the name right because in Mandarin, the monsters have completely different names. But hey, bear with me. I had no idea how to handle combat properly. I didn't know about crafting better weapons, bringing potions, or sharpening my knife mid-hunt. There was just too much going on. And even though I barely managed to slay the Geodrome, the frustration got to me. I quit. Again. Looking back now, I think I know why I struggled so much. I never thought to look anything up online. I mean, I'm sure there were guides, tips, walkthroughs, probably everything I needed to survive. Funny enough, that's exactly how I finally got into Monster Hunter 3. Monster Hunter 3, probably one of my favorite games of all time. Like I mentioned before, it holds a special place in my heart. Back in 2008, my parents got me a Nintendo Wii, and not long after, Monster Hunter 3 was announced. Sure, I had terrible experiences with the older games on PSP, but that trailer, man, it blew me away. I was instantly hyped. To be fair, the cinematics for Portable 2 and 2G were also cool, probably the reason I even gave 2G a second chance. But Monster Hunter 3, it was a major leap forward, a full overhaul of the series. New visuals, new systems, and the underwater combat. Yeah, not really a fan of that one. Then, finally, the game dropped. I got it as soon as I could, but there was just one problem. It was in Japanese. I barely understood what the game was telling me, but this time I had something I didn't have before. Access to the internet. We had these fan-made translation sheet back then, mapping every item, weapon, and material to their Mandarin names. That opened the door to guides, tutorials, forums, everything I needed to actually learn the game. Eventually, a third-party translation patch came out, and things got a lot easier. But there was another problem. Monster Hunter 3 Japan version requires a monthly fee to play online. And yeah, junior high me, no way I could afford that. So I went back to Monster Hunter 2G. And you know what? That's when I really started to enjoy it. Playing with friends, hunting together, it was the first time I felt the magic of Monster Hunter. Not long after the Western release of Monster Hunter 3 was announced, and guess what? No monthly fee. I jumped on it immediately, finished the village quest as soon as I could, and finally got into the online world I have waited for so long. English didn't bother me too much. I already knew the mechanics, the icons, and the materials. But I didn't pay much attention to monster names. And even today, I still struggle to remember their English names. Back then, I didn't have many friends who owned a Wii or played Monster Hunter 3, and online players mostly chatted in English, so I had to learn it fast. I had to figure out how to type quickly using the Wii remote, which, to be honest, was so horrible. I learned the basics of internet lingo too, like LOL, CU, GG, stuff I'd never used before. Eventually, I got to the end game. I remember waking up at 6 AM every day during summer just to farm Elytrion. It didn't always go well. Players' skills varied and sometimes it was chaos. But we had fun. A lot of fun. Sometimes we'd spend 20 minutes just chatting strategy before a hunt. Usually sleep bombing because, as everyone said, if you don't break the horns, you are killing Elytrion for nothing. And even now, replaying Monster Hunter 3, I can still feel it. The joy, the teamwork, the random players who become friends, sending invites, meeting up in the lobby and hunting together. Good old days. While Monster Hunter 3 was the first Monster Hunter game I ever played, Monster Hunter Portable 3, that was probably the one I played the most. It dropped in 2010, and the moment it launched, I was in. Yes, the language barrier was still there, but this time I was prepared. After getting comfortable with Monster Hunter 3, Portable 3 didn't feel nearly as overwhelming, and honestly, it felt like an improved version of Monster Hunter 3. Same style, same maps, but one big difference: no underwater combat, which for me was a blessing. Sure, we lost some monsters like Lagiacross, since they relied heavily on those underwater mechanics, but it made the game feel more grounded. Plus, Portable 3 added more weapon types. My favorites? Dual Blades and Bows, neither of which were available in Monster Hunter 3. The roster of monsters was bigger too, with more subspecies and variety, but the real reason I played it so much, it was on PSP, just like Monster Hunter Portable 2G. And back then, everyone had a PSP. We used to spend entire afternoon, 4 friends sitting together in a room, side by side, just hunting. It was loud, chaotic, and absolutely amazing. It was the complete opposite of Monster Hunter 3, which for me was a mostly solo experience. Portable 3 brought people together. It created moments. That, I think, is why Monster Hunter was so much more successful on handheld consoles back then. It wasn't just about the hunt, it was about the shared experience. The laughs, the shouting, the teamwork, the way the room would blow up when we finally took down a tough monster. It got so popular on handhelds that Capcom skipped releasing major titles on home consoles like PS3 and Xbox 360. And honestly, I kinda get it. Because of that shift toward handhelds, I actually missed quite a few Monster Hunter titles on the 3DS. Monster Hunter 4, 4G or Ultimate, and Cross or Generation. I did get to try Monster Hunter Double Cross or Generation Ultimate on the Nintendo Switch when it came out, but I only had about a week with it. I think I barely made it through high rank before life pulled me away. In 2017, I began my military service, 2 full years, and during that time, Monster Hunter World launched. Everyone I knew was playing it. It was a massive upgrade for the series, graphically, mechanically, everything. But I missed that entire wave. When I got out in 2019, I was finally ready for it, but there was a catch. there was no crossplay for Monster Hunter World, and most of my friends, they had already spent hundreds of hours on the PS4 version. I didn't have a PS4, so no multiplayer with my friends. I did give Monster Hunter World another try in 2024. It didn't quite hook me, not yet anyway, but I know it's something I need to return to. When Monster Hunter Rise finally dropped on PC, of course I gave it a try, but honestly, it didn't leave a great first impression. The series has changed a lot since Monster Hunter Portable 3, and to be real, I wasn't ready for it. At first, yeah, it felt like a Monster Hunter game. Until I ran into something called the Night Parade of 100 Monsters. And I remember thinking, what the hell is this? If I remember right, my friend and I both had to host a session just to progress to the next level. That wasn't what I signed up for. I wanted to hunt on a map, track the monster, fight the monster. Not this, some weird tower defense mode. That part really threw me off. And maybe that's also why Monster Hunter World didn't fully click with me either. The whole exploration system, wandering the map, finding the monster, only to return to the city afterward. It just slowed everything down for me. It felt disconnected, like the hunt was no longer the main course. It was buried under systems I didn't ask for. But to be fair, I won't judge them too harshly, because the truth is, I haven't truly experienced everything World or Rise had to offer. Not yet. And maybe there's still something waiting for me in those worlds. One thing Monster Hunter Wilds definitely gets right is trimming the fat, focus on what really matters, the combat. A lot of those extra systems that slowed things down in Monster Hunter World or Rise, they've been minimized, and honestly, that's a huge win in my book. Exploration, pretty much automatic now. And while I never really struggled with navigation in older games, Monster Hunter World's multi-layer maps, yeah, those confuse the hell out of me sometimes, so I'm glad Wilds fixed that. Like I mentioned before, World used to interrupt the flow. You'd find a monster but you had to jump through loops before you could actually hunt it. In Wilds, once you discover the target, the guild gives you the green light immediately. It feels smooth, it feels right. The hunts themselves, definitely shorter, which honestly works for people like me, who only gets a couple of hours a day to play. But yeah, for a full console or PC release, I think they could stretch fights by maybe 20%. That would hit the sweet spot. Oh, and just to correct something I said in my last video, Monster Hunter Wilds does have an environmental link feature where you can explore the world with friends. But wow, the connection process, way more complicated than it needs to be. And here's the strange part about the multiplayer experience. The more I play it, the more I realize I don't really need to talk to anyone. It's not like Monster Hunter 3 where communication was crucial. Here, it's optional, and that kinda kills what made Monster Hunter special for me. Now, with the most recent update, they finally brought back something like the Gathering Hub, which seriously should have been there from the start. But hey, better late than never. It at least shows that the game is heading in the right direction. Still, I won't form a final opinion for the update just yet. I will definitely keep playing and I will post an update when I've seen more. One thing I'm generally hyped about, the Gaia Cross is back. For the first time in a modern Monster Hunter game. No underwater combat this time, but I hope they've finally found a way to make the Gaia Cross shine again. There's a lot to love, a lot to question, and a lot to unpack when it comes to live service games in general. But that is a topic for another video. Looking back, Monster Hunter has been with me through so many stages of life. From being a confused kid wandering the snow mountains in Portable 2, to grinding Elytrion during summer in Monster Hunter 3, to spending entire afternoons with friends on Portable 3, and now exploring the new entry, Monster Hunter Wilds, and making videos out of them. The series has changed a lot. I've changed a lot. And while none of them is perfect, they all have a place in my story. So whether Wilds ends up being my next favorite or just a stepping stone, I'm here for the ride, and I'm excited to see what happens next. Which Monster Hunter game is your favorite? Please share it in the comment section down below. And if you're enjoying the video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.